to maybe inform, maybe calm, relax, and because it's going to be quite monotone, maybe even to fall asleep. This is picking up partway through where I was before. Although the groupings of the great powers had thus been altered sensibly to the disadvantage of Germany, there was in this alteration nothing that threatened her with war. The abiding spirit of France had never abandoned the dream of recovering the lost provinces, but the prevailing temper of the French nation was pacific, and all classes remained under the impression of the might of Germany and of the terrible consequences likely to result from war. Moreover, the French were never sure of Russia in a purely Franco-German quarrel. True, there was the treaty, but the treaty to become operative required aggression on the part of Germany. What constitutes aggression? At what point in a dispute between two heavily armed parties does one side or the other become the aggressor? At any rate, there was wide field for discretionary action on the part of Russia. Of all of these matters, she would be the judge, and would be judged at a moment when it might be said that the Russian people would be sent to die in millions over a quarrel between France and Germany, in which they had no direct interest. The word of the Tsar was indeed a great assurance, but the Tsars who tried to lead their nation, however honourably, into unpopular wars might disappear. The policy of a great people, if hung too directly upon the person of a single individual, was liable to be changed by his disappearance. France, therefore, could never feel certain that if on any occasions she resisted German pressure and war resulted, Russia would march. Such was the ponderous balance which had succeeded the unquestioned ascendancy of Germany. Outside both systems rested England, secure in an overwhelming and as yet unchallenged naval supremacy. It was evident that the position of the British Empire received added importance from the fact that adhesion in either alliance would decide the predominance of strength. But Lord Salisbury showed no wish to exploit the favourable situation. He maintained steadily the traditional friendly attitude towards Germany, combined with a cool detachment from continental entanglements. It had been easy for Germany to lose touch with Russia, but the alienation of England was a far longer process. So many props and ties had successively to be demolished. British suspicions of Russia in Asia, the historic antagonism to France, memories of Blenheim, of Minden, and of Waterloo, the continued disputes with France in Egypt and the colonial sphere, the intimate business connections between Germany and England, the relationship of the royal families, all these constituted a profound association between the British Empire and the leading state in the Triple Alliance. It was no part of British policy to obstruct the newborn colonial aspirations of Germany, and in more than one instance, as at Samoa, we actively assisted them. With a complete detachment from strategic considerations, Lord Salisbury exchanged Heligoland for Zanzibar. Still, even before the fall of Bismarck, the Germans did not seem pleasant diplomatic comrades. They appeared always to be seeking to enlist our aid and reminding us that they were our only friend. To emphasize this, they went even farther. They sought in minor ways to embroil us with France and Russia. Each year, the Wilhelmstrasse looked inquiringly to the court of St. James for some new service or concession, which should keep German diplomats and their goodwill alive for further periods. Each year they made mischief for us with France and Russia, and pointed to the moral of how unpopular Great Britain was, what powerful enemies she had, and how lucky she was to find a friend in Germany. Where would she be in the councils of Europe if German assistance were withdrawn, or if Germany threw her influence into the opposing combination? These manifestations, prolonged for nearly 20 years, produced very definite sensations of estrangement in the minds of the rising generation at the British Foreign Office. But none of these woes of diplomats deflected the steady course of British policy. The colonial expansion of Germany was viewed with easy indifference by the British Empire. In spite of their rivalry in trade, there grew up far more important commercial connections between Britain and Germany. In Europe, we were each other's best customers. Even the German Emperor's telegram to President Kruger on the Jameson's raid in 1896, which we now know to have been no personal act but a decision of the German government, produced only temporary ebullition of anger. All the German outburst of rage against England during the Boer War, and such attempts as were made in the form of European coalition against us, did not prevent Mr. Chamberlain in 1901 from advocating an alliance with Germany, or the British Foreign Office from proposing in the same year to make the alliance between Britain and Japan into a triple alliance including Germany. During this period, we had at least as serious differences with France as with Germany, and sufficient naval superiority not to be seriously disquieted by either of them. We stood equally clear of the triple and the dual alliance. We had no intention of being drawn into a continental quarrel. No effort by France to regain her lost provinces appealed to the British public, or to any political party. The idea of a British army fighting in Europe amid the mighty hosts of the continent was by all dismissed as utterly absurd. Only a menace to the very life of the British nation would stir the British Empire from its placid and tolerant detachment from continental affairs. But that menace Germany was destined to supply.